What's going on, everybody? What's going on? It is Dr. Jamar Montgomery of drjamarmontgomery.com. Hmm. Now, all of a sudden, I want to have poor connection issues on Instagram. Very interesting. Very interesting. What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Very interesting day today. Very interesting day today. Oh, we're telling your followers that you've started live, but it's pausing due to poor connection issues on Instagram. Isn't that interesting that I'm having poor connection issues on Instagram? Very interesting. Um, anyways, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel just got done giving a speech to Congress, and I tried making it through it. I got through about half of it, 35 minutes of it. And he starts off talking about the families that he brought with him to Congress. And he goes talking about October 7th, of course. And then he goes to talk about the protests that are going on here in America that are quote unquote anti Israel and all these different things. And I started getting irritated because you, the first like 10, 15 minutes of the speech is just clapping after clapping after clapping after clapping. And it's almost as if the United States Congress was worshiping the ground that he stood on. And uh, do we even give our own president that kind of respect, right? Do we give President Biden that level of respect, of admiration, of 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 do we give that kind of honor? And the answer is no. And Ken Davis said they were bought by APAC. Absolutely. Absolutely. None at all. And Ken Davis said none at all. And that was my first thought too. We don't see that. We don't see that. Do you see how we can give more honor, more respect, more admiration to a prime minister of another country versus honor and respect to the president of our own country? And mind you, this is coming from somebody that's not a Joe Biden fan. You know who I am a fan of? I'm a fan of America. I'm a fan of America. That's who I'm a fan of. And that nobody from outside of America, nobody outside of America's leadership should be getting more praise, recognition, and admiration than someone in American leadership. Um, why would he? He never deserved it. At sea, the waves go out and then they come back in. Did y'all give President Trump any respect? Did they give Obama any respect? Um, I don't think that anybody got. I don't think that President Trump nor President Obama nor President Biden has gotten the level of honor and respect that President Netanyahu has received in the United States Congress. That's the problem. That's the problem. Is that we have not given honor. We do not care about what Americans think, and this is our country. This is our country. We're not Israel. Israel is its own country. We're America. We're the United States of America, and we have our own issues going on here. In fact, we as American people should should have our own thoughts about what goes on in Israel. Can two things be true at the same time? Yes, two things can be true at the same time. It can be true that Israel is our ally, but it can also be true that Israel is on some BS. The International Criminal Court, the ICC, has said that Israel is occupying Palestine and is not following international law when it comes to that occupation. That's clear. But we, as our American legislators, will allow the leader, the prime minister of a country that violates international law, to come up there and get honor, get respect, get admiration, and not call him out on what his administration is doing. We don't have no backbone in this country, and that's a problem. Ashley Jen said, "Free Palestine." Uh, Ken Davis said, Senator Sanders said Netanyahu is the first convicted war criminal to speak before Congress, right? Our gang said he should not have been allowed to speak before our Congress. Exactly. That's the problem. But you want to know why he was able to speak so boldly and receive such honor and respect in the United States Congress? Because many of our Congress people have received substantial donations from AIPAC. And for those of you that don't know what AIPAC is, let me make sure I have the correct name for you. It is the American Israel. Hold on, let's make sure I have it correct for you. Let me make sure I have it correct for you. Let me make sure I have the actual name for you. AIPAC, American Israel Public Affairs Committee. Our gang said, my thoughts are that the IDF is performing genocide. Absolutely. And the evangelical church funds the country with their countless visits to and support of Israel. And that's the thing, is that Israel looks at the United States like we're dummies. And especially they take advantage of evangelicals, because evangelicals seem to just support whatever Israel's doing. And you can be a Christian and be critical of Israel. There is Israel, the land, and then there's the state or the nation of Israel. And I can go into a whole history lesson, and I will go into a history lesson of this. But my subscribers are going to be the ones who get it. You guys are going to have to pay for that, because that's some heavy knowledge and some heavy research that I've done on this to really speak on it with authority. The only foreign country with a PAC, and it's the largest and most funded in the United States. The problem with that, you're absolutely right. The problem with that is that this is a public affairs committee that also has a political action committee that operates in the interest of a foreign government and does not have to register as a foreign agent. If this was any other country, the United States would have a major issue. Major issue. But which one of our Congress people, which one of our senators has a backbone? Who has a backbone to call them out? Ken Davis said, 100% Christian and critical of Israel. I have a degree in ancient Middle Eastern history and religion. You know what, Ken Davis, if you would like to come up and share some words with the audience, I would encourage you to. I would encourage you to. Love to hear your thoughts and perspective, because I love talking with people who are knowledgeable about the subject and know what's going on. I have a big issue. I have a big issue with this. Why? Because you can get in more trouble for criticizing Israel than you will for doing anything else here in the United States. You will get in more trouble by having an opinion on Israel than anything else. You could say F America. You could say America ain't nothing, but let you say that about Israel and see what kind of trouble that you get into. Look at Kanye. Look at Candace Owens. Right? We can boycott the U.S., but can't boycott Israel in 34 states. Exactly my point. And we got Netanyahu getting up there and so comfortable saying whatever the heck that he wants. You know, did Hamas, was October 7th horrific? Absolutely. What Israel has been doing to the Palestinian people been horrific? Absolutely. It's been going on for years. And we as the United States have been supporting everything that Israel does, hook, line, and sinker. Why? Because our politicians have been bought off by special interest groups like AIPAC. What does that mean? That means that these special interest groups that are well funded, that they can tell your senator, your congressperson, on this particular issue, this is how you vote. So regardless of what the protests are going on outside, regardless of all the criticism that has been going on in the American public, you, Mr. Congresswoman, you Mr. Congressman, you Miss Congresswoman, you need to and you will vote this particular way, or we will fund your competition. We will fund your replacement. That's what we're dealing with. That's what we're dealing with. Ken Davis, thank you for the likes. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Our gang said protesters were protesting the genocide, not Israel. You know, you're absolutely you're right, and you're also not particularly accurate. Right, when they put Hamas on University Square, on Liberty Square, or Union Center, Union Square, Union Square, like that was stupid. That was stupid. Because the people, the things that are happening to the people of Palestine is horrific. Hamas decided to go to war with Israel, and they knew what was going to happen as a result. So to support Hamas, right? To support Hamas is one thing. To support the Palestinian people is another. I support the Palestinian people. I don't have a dog in the Hamas Israel fight, but Israel's been wrong for what they've done. Point blank. Period. Point blank. Period. We got money to give to Israel and Ukraine, but no money for reparations. Thanks for the likes, everyone. I appreciate all the likes. I appreciate all the likes, everyone. Thank you. Thank you so much for the likes. I just, like, literally, you couldn't get past 30 seconds without somebody clapping for Netanyahu. Don't you know that that man is prolonging this conflict so that he doesn't have to face the Israeli court because he's in trouble, because people are tired of Benjamin Netanyahu in his own country? Thank you for the boxing gloves, Ken Davis. I appreciate it. Thank you for the follow, our gang. I appreciate it. Thank you for all the likes, everyone, especially you, Ken Davis. I appreciate it. This country is in trouble because this country is showing that they are willing to give billions to a foreign country instead of billions to the American people. It's like having a wife and a side chick, right? The side chick is always going to feel special because the side chick is looking at the wife like, well, you know what? You obviously not doing something right because I wouldn't need to be here. And I'm getting all these particular benefits, and he's doing this for me, and he's doing that for me. But little do they know that the wife, that the side chick will never get the best parts of that man. The man ain't leaving his wife. And the wife feels some kind of way because the wife is like, well, you're taking something from me. You're taking something from me. Well, the wife in this particular point, in this particular example, is the American people. The side chick is Israel, and the husband is the United States government. The United States is cheating on the American people with Israel. Like, I did a deep dive on this. Like, you cannot call yourself the home for the Jewish people and then also consider yourself, you cannot consider yourself the home of the Jewish people and not be considered a theocracy. Because if you're a home for a religious group or people that belong to a religious group, or let's put it from this perspective, you cannot say that you are a fair and free country when you're literally occupying, and according to international law, you are an occupier of Palestine. Crazy. Ken Davis, I appreciate you. You have a great evening. I'm looking forward to connecting with you soon. Jeep Girl Michelle said, we are living it every day. They must not shop for groceries. Crazy. Crazy. I don't know why I'm having issues with my Instagram right now, but it's literally it's literally saying that I can't do what I need to do. But it's all good. I'm gonna try again. Aim Shapiro, thank you for the likes. Our gang said, I'm warning you to move even though you have nowhere to go. No, the answer isn't moving. The answer is improving where you're at, even if you gotta fight like hell. Even if you gotta fight like hell. Because watch, if they're powerful enough to get the people who are there to leave, then that means that they're powerful enough to be able to kick other people out of their own homelands. Yep, we are controlled by Israel. That's the long and short of it. And I don't know why I'm having issues on my Instagram, but it's all good. We here now. Thank you, Ken Davis, for sharing the live. I appreciate it. You think about this. Think about this. Think about this. No other U.S. president has gotten the level of applause and response by the U.S. Congress like Netanyahu has, and he's been there to speak 4 times. And anytime that another president comes, they're begging for money. They're begging for money. So the reason why Netanyahu came over here to this visit is because he's begging for money right before a particular election, and we're trying to the whichever party is the Democratic Party is going to be asking for money. is going to be asking for money from the Jewish special interest groups and Israeli special interest groups. Our gang, you asked that is a great question. What is the difference between what Russia is doing and what Israel is doing? Okay. The difference between what Russia is doing and what Israel is doing is that Russia didn't decide to invade Ukraine until Ukraine started making serious moves to join NATO. And Russia gave warnings saying, if you join NATO, I'm going to invade. And particularly back in 2014, Russia took a piece of Ukraine. They took the piece where it was Russian. The people identified more with Russia than they did with Ukraine. Now, does Russia want to be in Ukraine? Because people are like, oh, well, he's going to take over more. It's not Putin's goal. It's not Putin's goal. Putin made it clear back in the either early 80s or I'm trying to remember. I got to go back and reread it. But Putin made it clear to Georgia and to Ukraine that if they join NATO, that he was going to invade them. And that's exactly what he did. He wanted a buffer zone. Absolutely, 100%. Did you know that the United States helped overthrow the democratically elected leader of Ukraine that was pro-Russia? Did you know that? So before there was Zelensky, there was a pro-Russian president of Ukraine, and the United States was involved in getting him removed. It's been madness. It's been madness. Okay, now let's go to Israel because you asked about what's the difference between Russia and Israel. Israel, Palestine opened up its doors to the Israeli. It opened up its doors to the German Jews who were running from Germany, who were running from the Holocaust. Palestine opened up its doors, opened up its gates, opened up its borders to these people. So the people that of Israel that are claiming that this is their homeland, that the land has always belonged to them, cannot trace their genetic history back to that land. They can trace their history and their genetic history through Europe, but they cannot do it in the Middle East. Yet they say that this is the land of the Jews. But it's very interesting because in Abrahamic religions that the ancestry passed through the father. These folks, the ancestry passes through the mother, which goes against Abrahamic religions. So there's a whole lot of confusion that has been created, and then the fact is that we as American people and just the world in general are not allowed to question that. And particularly here in the United States, you get in trouble. You get in a whole lot of trouble. Whole lot of trouble. You get in a whole lot of trouble. They'll call you an anti-Semite with the quickness, and then they'll change up the definition of what it is to be anti-Semitic. You can say that you're anti-Zionist, and they'll say that that's anti-Semitic. You can say that I'm anti-Israel, and they'll say that that's anti-Semitic. That's like, it's madness. Our gang said, glad you are informed. Good to see and hear without a lot of nonsense. I appreciate that. Aim Shapiro, thank you for the love. I appreciate it. No, I studied the history because I was always confused because I wanted to be able to talk intelligently about this because there's a whole deception and whole ruse that has been going on with the American people, and the one place where you don't have freedom of speech is talking about Israel. And that's a problem. That's a problem. Oh, I know it's being suppressed. I know it's being suppressed because I've been having 60, 100, 200 people, and now I only have 10 people in here. It's all good though. Joy fulfilled. How did America become allies to Israel? Started with the Balfour Declaration. Declaration, where the land was promised to the Palestinian people, protection was promised to the Palestinian people, and then the land and the place to stay was granted to the German Jewish immigrants that were coming down from Germany. Did you know that the state of Israel attacked a United States ship, sunk a U.S. ship, our quote unquote ally, sunk a United States ship. There was a whole big stink on it. Let me find out the name. It was called the USS Liberty. No, this wasn't recently. This was in the 8th of June 1967. Killed 34 crew members and wounded 171. And Shapiro said, I'm from Idaho. Recently, I did not know that. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. As you said, I'm trying to understand the history and the president of all of this. Idaho has black folks, absolutely. Um, what you need to know. Oh, Joy Fulfilled. Well, you know what? I'll go ahead and have a live class on that a little bit later, probably within the next month. If you're interested, reach out to me. I have a class coming up on Friday and Saturday on Project 2025, where I'm going to be going through it, analyzing that and breaking it down. But just know that Israel sees the United States as its piggy bank. Point blank, period. And you can get a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble talking about Israel. Yet you're supposed to have the freedom of speech as an American. But there's certain things that you just can't talk about, that you can't question. Exactly. You couldn't say it in class. What you would have to do is just talk about history. Literally just talk about history and allow people to make their own conclusions about it. Well, Joy, if you're interested, reach out to me. Reach out to me. Um, and we'll see what we'll be able to work out. I myself, I was an educator as well. I taught political science at Southern University Shreveport. So my background is also, I have a background in education. Oh, for those that don't know me, I am Dr. Jamar Montgomery of drjamarmontgomery.com, where I talk about politics, social issues, technology. Why am I qualified to talk about these particular things? Well, I started college at the age of 11, started full time at 14, graduated at 19 with my bachelor's in mechanical engineering. I went on to work for the United States Navy as the youngest weapons systems engineer in the United States Navy's history. Currently, the system that is shooting down drones in the Red Sea, that was a system that I worked on. I worked, was a member of the NAACP and was chair of legal redress, where I helped people with discrimination complaints and fought against injustice, utilizing the legal system. I then, after 5 years of working for the U.S. Navy, I then went to law school and got my MBA at the same time. I was involved in a number of social movements during that time and social protests. After graduating with my law degree and my MBA, I began teaching political science at Southern University Shreveport, then began practicing law as a juvenile public defender, where I was working with kids. I also defended men who had been incarcerated because of bad child support. Seeing what all the injustices that were going on in the United States, and particularly in Louisiana, and specifically Shreveport, Louisiana, I decided that I was going to run for United States Senate in the 2020 elections. So I ran for U.S. Senate as an independent candidate in the 2020 elections, pissed off a bunch of powerful people because I started uncovering corruption and they went after my law license. Crazy as would have it. After that, I ended up, they thought that I was down for the count, but I ended up working with Kanye West and advising Kanye West on his presidential campaign. Next, I was advising and having meeting and was meeting with President Donald Trump, advising him on HBCU and technology policy, and have spoken at during the World Economic Forum twice already in the past 2 years. I was just in Davos, Switzerland during the World Economic Forum, giving a speech, giving a talk on the integration of blockchain and AI. So you were talking to somebody who has literally experience in law, business, and policy, in government, in politics. So I'm here because I'm passionate about learning, and I want to make sure that my audience is informed, is informed, and once you get informed, that you are involved. Um, Aim Shapiro, thank you for the likes. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And thank you, everyone who's been joining. Thank you, Joy Fulfilled, for the likes. I It's very disheartening. It's very disheartening. And the thought that I had the other night, the yesterday, was um What if they suspend elections because of civil unrest um, around election time? Bunch of things I just wouldn't have expected in this particular election season, but here it is. Joy Field said fantastic career. Thank you. And I'm not finished yet. I'm only 35 years old. I'm only 35. Ames Shapiro said, I want to be informed. Well, you know what, Ames? You have been showing up to my lives, and I appreciate you. And I hope that each time that you come on my live, that you get some new information. And I imagine that since you still keep coming back each time, that you have been getting good information. So I want to actually applaud you for finding places like my channel where you can get informed and inspires you to get involved in your government. So I'm going to say that now there's a citizenship challenge, right? There's a citizenship challenge that's going on right now. Make sure that you get your social security card. Next, get you a state ID. Next, get you your passport. Next, get you registered to vote. After you register to vote, make sure that you actually vote in the election. Donate to a candidate. Volunteer for a candidate. Join an organization, a social organization. Show up to city council meetings. Sit in a courtroom. Run for office. That's a lot of stuff to do. That's what I'm saying. A lot of people have not done those things, but if you want to understand what America truly has to offer, go do all of those things. You won't be ignorant about what goes on in your government. Somebody can't lie to you. Why? Because then you've gone and you've done it. You've gone and you've done it. Our gang, I appreciate you. Have a good night. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow night on my next live. But Ames, you're right. That's a lot to do. That's the point. That's the point. It's a lot that comes with becoming being a full citizen in the United States. You need to get informed and involved with your government. If you don't know what your government is doing, if you don't know what it takes in order to get those documents, you won't have an appreciation for those documents. Like right now, there's like 26 positions that you could vote for. What about voter suppression? Voter suppression is happening, but it's difficult for them to suppress your vote if you have those documents. That's my point. If you have a state ID or a passport, it's very difficult for them. Make sure that you have a state ID. It's very difficult for them to keep you from voting. The only thing that keeps you from voting is if you decide, I'm not going to early vote. I'm not going to vote by absentee ballot. I'm not going to show up during the actual voting period. What voter suppression is there? Is there? Is it going to be inconvenient? Sometimes no. Let's see. Who do you vote on? People think that you vote for your president, but you're really voting on the electors. You have the popular vote, but they're actually the electoral college is what matters with the presidential vote, but we'll get to that. The people that you directly vote for: governor, mayor, state attorney general, local district attorney, local clerk of court, the sheriff. You might have a constable or a marshal in your area. You vote on your coroner. You vote on your assessor. You vote on the treasurer, secretary of state. You vote on your city council person, your school board, some of your school boards, your state commissions, your public service commissioner, your state representative, your United States representative, your state senator, your United States senator, your state Supreme Court judges, your state appellate judges, your state district judges, and your city judges. You vote on all those people. These are all people in some way, shape, form, or fashion have influence over your life, who can either hurt you or help you. It depends on how informed and involved you are in the actual process. But yeah, the president, the vice president are the positions where our direct vote doesn't really count, meaning that it can be overridden according to the Constitution. It's the electors, and you are not considered an elector. Thankful for your questions, though. Thankful for your questions. Any other questions? Any other questions? Ames, when you start diving into it, it becomes very interesting. It becomes very, very interesting. And that's why it's so important to be involved in your government so that you know what's going on. Because if you don't know what's going on, you're going to get bamboozled. You're going to get swindled. I'm telling you. Telling you, it happens every day. Happens every day. It's crazy. When I start talking about this stuff, then I start having issues with my computer. It's all good though. But yeah, I'm not gonna be in here too much longer. I just wanted to come and engage with y'all, drop some knowledge, drop some information, give you my thoughts on what's happening, and answer any questions. But if you're interested in hearing anything about Project 2025, reach out to me on Minect. Reach out to me on here for instructions on how to go to Minect so that you can join my Friday and Saturday live. I hope that everyone has a blessed evening. Spend some time with God. At least say hello to Him, speak to Him, pray to Him, tell Him thank you. Read your Bible, read a verse. Jesus is King. Jesus is my Lord and Savior. I hope y'all have a great evening. Good night.